All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Still a nation. I know it's Wednesday, but this is the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and I will be with you all for a short stint. I know some of you guys are used to me opening the Discord and having phone calls and things of that nature. Not going to do that tonight, guys. This is going to be a very brief show. This is really just a makeup show, if you will. I will explain that a little more in a moment, as far as last night. I forgot I had something to do, and, by the time I got home, it was just a little too late, man. I hadn't had dinner or anything like that, so I was like, it's not a biggie. We will do it tomorrow, which is today. But this is going to be very brief, man, very brief. Like I said, I'm not going to do a whole, calls or anything tonight. I know some of you guys were looking forward to the steel table as well. I have an update on that. Shout outs to my good brother Kenyon. Gave me a good suggestion. So let's get to it. Patrick Covington, what's happening, man? I see Pat. A couple of you guys did send me friend requests on Discord. I appreciate you all doing that. Mr. Winningham's reached out to me as well, because apparently the invite that I send only lasts for a week. So it looks like we have to be friends on Discord in order for you guys to, always be connected. So, and I saw Patrick Covington there. So, but let's get to it. Let's say what's up and hello to the early commenters, man. Jermaine White in the building. Who else we got up in here, man? Kev So Fun is in the building. Kajam Banso. I think I'm saying that correctly. The infamous Tim is in the building. Stiller Cards is in the building. My good brother Kenyon is in the building. Armand Bozeman is in the building. Deshane Egos. Deshane Ogues. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I see your name all the time. But speaking of that, real quick, what's up, Jack Bauer? Jack Bauer in the building. Haven't seen Jack in a while. Big Rick Mac D as well. My good brother Mark Cunningham in the building as well. Let me ask you guys again really quick. I know I mentioned this before, man, but let me ask a few of you guys early in the show, because every time I ask y'all this, I never look to see what you guys said. But have you guys experienced yourself, or have you noticed with others, your names, your usernames have changed on YouTube? Have y'all noticed that? No, not tonight, Tim, not tonight. I plan to be fairly quick, so not going to do the calls tonight because, again, man, Wednesday is not my normal night, so I don't have as much time. I'll get to that in a moment, explain to you guys. Nothing major. I just had something to do last night. But, yeah, let me ask you guys, have y'all noticed your name change? Yes. Okay, K West. See, I was wondering if you guys saw that as well. You used to just be K West, Christopher West. Yes, now it's K West 011. Kenyon is now Dubs KW. It's weird, man. Mark Cunningham has numbers in his name. Jack Bauer is now Jack Bauer 1805. Steelers 011971, which I believe is my good brother Tony. The infamous Tim has 3304 at the end of his. I don't know why YouTube did that. I mention that, guys, because, you guys will remember my father-in-law, me and Tony's father-in-law, Leonard Langley. His name is no longer Leonard Langley. He said his name is Goldilocks or something crazy. He mentioned that to me, man, and he said, some of you guys, he used to chat it up with you guys and y'all don't recognize him because he said his name is completely wrong. So if I see it, I will point that out, but I don't know why YouTube did that. So yeah, very strange. Yeah, it's Goldie something, Dr. Trey 88. And Dr. Trey 88's name has been the same. So Steeler Cards has numbers in his name. Like, I don't know what has happened to YouTube, but if any of you guys, man, that used to be here and y'all have a different name, please let me know, man, so I can address my good family appropriately. He says Deshane Oggs. Okay, yeah, it just looks weird how it's jumbled up, but I appreciate that, Deshane, for giving me that phonetic spelling there, phonetic pronunciation, I guess you would say. But let's get to it, guys. This night is about you all. I'll share again some quick thoughts on the whole Tomlin situation, man. It's cool to see all of the outpouring of support from the players. A little bit of what was said. They haven't really come out and said specifically, but a lot of the players are kind of saying how that last meeting went, how people felt about it, how upset they were. You're hearing about Joey Porter Jr. hyperventilating and TJ Watt screaming no, 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 and very emotional on the face, and Aaron Rodgers emotional, and I heard even Adam Thielen was talking about it. I saw a clip from him today saying just how players were taking the blame, like feeling like it was their fault, and they were saying that Tomlin was basically all business, and basically at the end he kind of told them, look, this is what's happening. He doesn't feel like he's pushing the franchise for, he's not pushing it further as he once did, and that's why he stepped down. So again, man, I think it's just cool to have that type of relationship with the coach if you're a player, that type of relationship with the coach as an organization. And, regardless of how people feel about Mike Tomlin, it's going to be hard shoes to fill, man. Again, Chuck Noll was 4-time Super Bowl champion, extremely big shoes to fill, right? Even though Chuck Noll started going on the downswing and having losing seasons and things like that, nobody's going to forget the 4 championships, right? With those outstanding teams at that time, there's still curtain, if I pronounce that correctly. And then you bring in Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher goes on to have the same success. I think him and Tomlin both at about 62% winning percentage, both a higher percentage than Chuck Noll. Bill Cowher finally gets himself a Super Bowl championship, went on to have a couple bad losses, and, they bring in Mike Tomlin, right? And again, same situation. A lot of success, get a Super Bowl, get to 2, a lot of winning seasons, obviously, and just that duration of time that those coaches led the organization, it is going to be very hard to match that type of culture. I do wonder, though, if the Steelers now are still in that business, or are they more so going to become one of these teams that, 4, 5, 6 years, that's it. I don't know. I'm just curious to see if they're going to carry on tradition, if you will, where this next coach we're going to see for the next 15 plus years. We shall see. A lot of other traditions I think they will continue with, and we'll talk about that in a moment as I'm going to read the names of all of the people that the Steelers are talking to. Other than that, man, I'll just say I am excited, man. This is a new era. This is a new time. I'm leaving all of the Tomlin hoopla in the back, in the rear view, and we'll see what happens. I saw that CT Pittman is pointing out on Cam's podcast, Cam Hayward. He said Tomlin told him he was glad he didn't break Chuck Noll's record. So again, man, I think a lot of people are starting to see more of who Mike Tomlin was, the man. Very interesting what's going on with him and James Harrison. And it's funny even watching the fan base react to that. Like, y'all are either pro Tomlin or pro James Harrison. And the truth of the matter is, I don't know what the situation was, right? Who knows? James Harrison could be bitter as far as how things went later on in his career. I don't know. But I'm not going to take sides in that situation. The same way a lot of people felt like Najee Harris had such a beef with Mike Tomlin. Did you guys see? And I saw, the chunk when he talked about Tomlin. Did y'all see what Najee Harris had to say about Mike Tomlin on the podcast with Marshawn Lynch and Michael Robinson? But again, all we heard was the beef that he had with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, and Najee Harris is saying something totally different in regards to Mike Tomlin. Even said that Mike Tomlin gave him some fatherly-like advice and was like, look, If you was my son, I would tell you not to come back. So again, I just say that, guys, because we never know. We never know the real ins and outs. You know, we never know the ins and outs of all these situations. So, you know, just try not to take sides, man. We don't know. We weren't there. We don't know these people. Don't overly take up for one or overly take up for the other and overly blame one and overly blame the other, because we just don't know. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on, guys. So let's talk about it, man. My question, of course, in the topic of tonight's show is, you know, who would you guys like to be the Pittsburgh Steelers' next head coach? And what I'm going to do before you guys start commenting, hold on, give me a second. I'm going to read off all of the names that we know about, the reported interviews and the request. We'll do that. And then I'll come to the chat because I don't want to miss any of you guys. Round of applause. First up, my man Jay Webb with that Wonder Bread. I appreciate you, sir. Says Russell Wilson should be one of the happiest because he may now have a shot after Buffalo's messy presser, hearing Coleman for a 6th round. You talking about us, a 6th rounder? Keon Coleman, that's what you talking about, to the Steelers for a 6th round pick? Is that what you're hearing? I'm cool with that. Steelers got a bunch of picks. I'm cool with a 6th round. Y'all and you guys who really know my football fandom, y'all would understand. Oh, you said R. Wilson. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Russell. But Roman Wilson. Yeah. Roman Wilson. You guys, y'all would know why I have the affinity for Keon Coleman, you know, if y'all really know my football fandom. Y'all already know that's a no-brainer. I'm going to be a little biased. Deshane says, Sim, that Najee comment makes me wonder how was Mike T's relationship with the organization behind closed doors. Yeah, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's, again, we will never know. You know, everything seemed to be great, but you never know, man. You never know. But that's a great point, Deshane. Yeah, Jay Webb, you already know what it is. But yeah, I would be cool with Keon Coleman for a 6th round, 6th round pick. Listen, a lot of these players, and y'all know I'm usually one of the last to give these players respect or a long leash, if you will. I'm usually one of the last ones. Well, y'all be ready to throw this kid away. I'd be like, nah, man, hold on. He might have something. Keon Coleman is a guy that I think you can still get something from. Absolutely. So we'll see. Well, all right, let's get to it, guys. Before you guys dive into giving me your opinion on who you want, let's just read really quickly who we know the Steelers have visited or have plans to continue to talk with. All right, so we have the kid, Nate. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Is it Shahaz or Shahazi? Y'all know who I'm talking about. He's a pass game coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. It was a very nice, interesting piece that they had on him, man. It was floating around social media, how he draws up the plays. And what I learned more from that is how many people came from that tree and had that same position in that whole connection of the McVay and Shanahan, all of these people. Like, it was interesting that a lot of them started in that particular role and went on to be a head coach. So, again, he seems to be a candidate. Steelers requested to talk to him. Obviously, we know Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, that is the Dolphins defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, which Brian Flores has already apparently re-signed, and he's signed an extension. Signed an extension with the Minnesota Vikings. I'll speak on that in a moment. Ijaro Ivero, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's the D coordinator for the Panthers. Jeff Hafley, a lot of people have been talking about him. D coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Clay Kubiak, offensive coordinator for San Francisco. Mike McCarthy, former Packers and Cowboys head coach. Steeler man. The reason why I say a Steeler man, because he's a Pittsburgh guy. We'll talk about that one here in a moment, too. They scheduled follow-ups with the Nate Kidd, Chris Shula, Jesse Minter, Jeff Hafley, Clay Kubiak, Anthony Weaver, Ivaro, Brian Flores, which, again, he's off the table, and Mike McCarthy, and Anthony Weaver. Now, these are all of the names right now. And, again, shout-outs to Steelers Depot. You guys do excellent work. Alex, you already know what it is. Dave, you already know what it is. You guys do excellent work. They keep us up to date with a lot of this information. And those are pretty much the people. I don't see what's his name on the list as far as a confirmed interview. Salah. I don't see Salah, so I don't know what the situation is with that. I know he was a name that was thrown out there. Now, before y'all give me your opinion, because I really would just want to be eyeballing the chat when I ask y'all the question, let me give you my 2 comments on Flores and Mike McCarthy. Listen, I would have been open to Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores was a good coach, from what I learned about him when he was in Miami, from what people say about him. A younger guy, if you will, if I'm not mistaken, right now he's in his early 40s or mid 40s, I think. But, just that mentality, has shown and proved itself as a defensive coordinator. I believe had we not had Terrell Austin already in place, then Brian Flores would have been the defensive coordinator for the Steelers. But Coach Tomlin, again, the person he is, extended his hand to him in a time where he really needed it, because he was a lot of press on him, with him going against the NFL. And we knew he wasn't going to be in Pittsburgh for long. The point of Tomlin giving him that spot was to allow him to get opportunity so he could get another opportunity elsewhere. The plan obviously is for him to become a head coach somewhere. Now, I'm not sure what must have happened with him re-signing with the Vikings. My only imagination would lead me to believe that money was good and maybe he didn't feel as if he was going to get the head job in Pittsburgh. Maybe they already informed him, or maybe he just didn't want to be in limbo like that, understanding that the Steelers are interviewing pretty much 10 other people. So again, we don't know the facts unless we hear it from him, but you got to look at it from a realistic standpoint. Go with the money and the guarantee that and maybe you take a shot at another organization later as a head coach. I don't know, but he's off the table. Now, let's talk about this next one. Mike McCarthy. If the Pittsburgh Steelers go the route of Mike McCarthy, this is how I would feel about that. Again, if the Pittsburgh Steelers go the route of Mike McCarthy, this is how I would feel. No disrespect to Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy was a good coach in his time. Might still be. But I don't want to do what the Steelers are accustomed to doing at quarterback the last several years. I'm not trying to go old school. No. Let's follow the trend of the NFL and go with these young, up-and-coming, hungry D coordinator, offensive coordinator types, guys who are not already or have not been head coaches in the league. That is what I would like the Steelers to do. Again, that's not a shout at Mike McCarthy. It's not a shot at him, because I would say the same thing about the Sagnetti guy that just won the national championship Monday. If the Steelers hire him, no, that's not the answer. He's a Pittsburgh guy. I'll actually give y'all another one. And I like this dude. Ain't it funny how I just talked about this last week? I like this guy. But even if the Steelers are considering and they actually hire McDermott, now why am I saying that, some of you people may say? Guys, that ain't a shot at Sean McDermott, but the Steelers, if you're going to rebuild, let's start from scratch. Let's start from scratch with the young guy, and let's get it popping. We already heard that they have already informed. They already informed Steelers coaches they can seek new opportunities or they will be released if not retained by the new head coach. Now, sidebar. I gotta say this, even though he is old, I gotta do this to the Steelers for one thing that we already know. Danny Smith, man, is now a Buccaneer coach. Now I get it. Danny Smith is old, and some of you guys are going to get mad at some of the times we've given up some return yards. But largely, man, I just like Danny Smith, man. I think Danny Smith did good things with our special teams, with the run of blocks that we had the last couple of years, and some of the special team demons he coached. I like Danny Smith, and I'm going to miss seeing that wad of gum. Every time I see him, I'm thinking he's going to accidentally bite his jaw off. We've all been there, right? We've all, especially guys, we've all been there where you're chewing gum too much and you bite the inside. And either you spit the blood out or you touch it and you see the blood. We all been there, right? As much gum that Danny Smith chews in that wad, I thought for sure he was going to bite his jaw completely off at some point. But I'm going to miss seeing the old dude, man. And it sucks that they had to lose him like that, but it is what it is. Again, rebuild, new regime. Now let's get to it. Let's get to it really quick. Who do you guys want to see as the head coach and why? Give me a little context if you can. D-Shane says, Sim, Flores is still in play for head coach. He signed an extension and it's only valid if he doesn't get a head coaching job. Okay. Thank you for providing that information. Did not know that. Okay. So he's still in play. Okay. The infamous Tim says, I prefer a former position or offensive coordinator who spent significant time under a stable offensive-minded head coach, ideally from a proven offensive coaching tree. I ain't mad at that. And speaking of that, as I wait for you guys to give me a few names, man, listen, do you think the Steelers are going to carry on tradition and get a young defensive coordinator? Or do you think they go offensive? Because obviously, guys, Shula is the guy that, that's the guy. That is the surefire guy that everybody is he's one of the top prospects. He fits the mold. He's young. He seems to be a great coach. They got all of these video clips out there on him and, how he gets along with the Rams defense and all of that. And again, it fits the mold of the Steelers. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, all young defensive coordinators. So it definitely feels like that Chris Shula is going to be the guy. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm not upset with some of these names. And again, guys, I told y'all, I'm not really the coach guru, but just looking at the success of the teams, would not be upset with Jesse Minter or Halfley. These are D coordinators. I don't know a little bit about Anthony Weaver. Would not be upset about Brian Flores. Like I said, he's a little bit older. Let me see. Let me check real quick. But I'd take Brian Flores. He is currently, how old is the young fella? Oh yeah, he's not an old guy. He's 44. You know, again, that's still relatively young. I'll take that. So I'm cool with it, man. What y'all got? Infamous Tim, man, appreciate that. Wonder Bread, sir. Oh, okay. I just saw a comment by K West, but Infamous Tim says, will the new head coach trade the farm to find a QB1? Good question, and I got a comment about that. But yes, you're right. K West, Hafley was hired. I think somebody said that. Yeah, Hafley was hired by the Dolphins. Okay, so you got to take him off the table. So we'll see who's next. Baltimore is going to be hiring Jesse Minter, still a card says. Okay. But again, guys, who do you guys want? Throw me some names and why. CT Pittman says, I'm in on Schuler and Skelhazy. Is that how you say his name? Want to get a young, fiery guy that can lead us into the next generation of Steeler greatness. Okay. Jay Webb, let me get your next one. I appreciate the Wonder Bread. And also, I have not forgotten about you, Tim. I'm going to answer that question in a second. Y'all got that Wonder Bread coming in, man. Jay Webb says head coach needs, in caps, to have old coordinator ties nowadays. So they need to be connected with someone. I don't know, maybe. The reason why I said that is not necessarily, but, you know, because like a Chris Schuler is more of a defensive guy, but he's around an offensive-minded guy in Sean McVay. So maybe that's what you're saying. But I don't know if they necessarily need to be an offensive coordinator, right? Because you still have that position. We can get a defensive-minded guy, but bring in a offensive-minded guy to be your coordinator, you know? But I think we're kind of saying the same thing in different ways. Round of applause to Keen, go crazy, man. Wonder Bread, thank you, sir. He says the real question is, will AR finally invest in a pass game, run game coordinator? I'm sure Schuler would want that coming from LA structure. Yeah, but remember, is AR even going to be there? Whether that is Arthur Smith or Aaron Rodgers. Double entendre there. AR, right? Is Arthur Smith even going to be there? Because again, guys, the reports have come out that the Steelers have informed these coaches that their contracts will expire unless they are retained by the new head coach. So, hey, oh, you talking about Art? Yeah, see, triple entendre. AR. See, it's too many of the ARs. I got you. Now that one will be there, God willing. So, yeah, okay, now your question. Yeah, I got you. Pass game, run. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you now. But that is absolutely a great question. Will he, or will the Steelers stick to their mantra? Steelers being AR2 and others, at the top of the food chain. That's kind of what they want. But, yeah, good question, man. I appreciate you. Knight Rider says, I want Kubiak because I just want an offensive-minded head coach who can identify and develop a QB. Okay, I'm not mad at that. Speaking of QB, to answer Tim's question, I don't know, man. We're going to see how this thing plays out. Again, some of y'all will disagree, but I think you kick the tires on Will Howard. I think you do. I think you do. Because do we know the full 2026 class now? Kenyon and I was kind of talking about that the other day. That class has changed. Some of these kids are going back to school. Arch Manning didn't light the world on fire. Mendoza obviously is going to be probably the first guy to go. So, you talk about the Steelers going way up there. What is it going to take to get the Raiders pick? Listen, I wouldn't force it. I know some of you guys are not as high on it because he's a 6th round pick. Who cares? Will Howard can play football. Will Howard is of the Ben Roethlisberger mold and size, but can move. Go back to his before he was with Ohio State. The boy can run the ball. He's agile enough. He don't have to be Lamar. He don't have to be, some of those type of running guys, but you could very well. Hey, John Gruden even said it when he was on with Gruden. You could very well use Will Howard like Josh Allen in terms of if you want to run him. Tough kid. I'm just saying, kick the tires on it, man. Take all of them draft picks and stack the roster. They going into the draft with 12 picks. I would say, unless there is a quarterback that you identify sure shot that they are the guy, like I said, that class has shrinked. Kick the tires on Will Howard, man. You can always draft a QB later. You always can do that. Start that rebuild and use all them picks to get as many contributors as possible. We got a lot of Wonder Bread, man. I got to get them all. Hold on. We have Lee Sharp and CT Pittman. Round of applause, man. Appreciate both of you brothers. Lee Sharp says, I'm worried about not getting Shula due to not having a franchise QB. Josh and Jackson sitting there ready to lead their teams. We have Rudolph and Howard. I have some hope and Will. Me too. Me too. I'm telling you, I do. CT Pittman says, Sim, Will Howard hasn't played one down of football and Steelers fans already says he sucks. I don't get it. I love y'all. I swear I do, but I don't get some of y'all. And some of y'all, it grinds my gears, man, on how fast we just, you know what I'm saying? I just don't understand that. I don't know if I recall seeing a national champion get treated that way. Like, y'all remember that? In last year's draft, few people even talked about Will Howard. Y'all had everybody else ahead of him. And I'm like, okay. Remember, guys, I know it's a crapshoot. Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft. And I will take the play of Brock Purdy right now, whether it's system structured or not. I'll take a system quarterback right now to get the style of play that Brock Purdy has shown throughout his career. I'm just saying. Kenya says there are no great QBs in 2026 class except Mendoza. See? Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny, guys? Remember last year how y'all was just telling me, oh, Sim, man, no, don't do that, and just wait till 2026. And I was like, we don't know who's going to be available. Just saying. Round of applause to First Dad. He says, please do a Madden Steelers rebuild. You're the head coach. Round of applause. Thank you for that. I hate committing to it because you guys know I try to commit to Madden every year, man, and I just get so busy. The problem is editing the videos, right? So now that there is no football season, it might give me more time to do streams. But quietly, I've been playing Madden this whole time in the background. With some sliders here, sometimes without sliders, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I just said the other day that I should, go into. Actually, I'm in the playoffs. Finish that out. Retire Tomlin. And take over the team and make myself the head coach. So we'll see. Stay tuned. What else y'all got? Who else did I miss? Sim, something tells me they will move up in front of the Jets and draft Todd Simpson. I have a weird feeling about it. We'll see. This is going to be an interesting offseason, guys, because, we can't assume that it's going to be the normal Steeler way. The normal Steeler way of GM, head coach, and wherever they go is usually the first round pick, and like all of that stuff goes out the window. We have no idea how the new coach is going to handle it. I can't wait to see it. Knight Rider says, yeah, you got to see what you got in Will Howard. You got to. Listen, Ben Roethlisberger just said it on Footballing. He said it. He said if Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back, which I don't expect him to, give the keys to Will Howard. Draft a veteran around him just for, to help. But you see what you got. You're in rebuild stage right. Like you are officially in rebuild stage, even though Art Rooney II wouldn't commit to that. He says, y'all heard him? Yeah, well, you never really say rebuild. That's been the Steelers' problem. But now they're forced into it. I don't care what you say. When you bring in a new head coach and you would assume new staff, that's a rebuild. But who else, man? Everybody says Shula. Did I miss anybody else that you guys want out of all of those other coaches? Some people saying Simpson needs to go back. Cade says Simpson is terrible. Yeah. We'll see, guys. But like I said, I would kick the tires on Will Howard, man. I really would. Where we at as far as time? We had 37 minutes. I didn't even mean to go this long. We're going to wrap this thing up here in a moment. But y'all shoot me some more names or some more feelings about what y'all would want the Steelers to do. Keen Go Crazy says he wouldn't be mad at Weaver. First Dad says trade Highsmith. Oh, here we go. Here we go with all the trade talk. I don't understand that either. I mean, y'all know how I always feel about trades. I don't understand why we always want to trade people. Again, the idea has always been to get as many pass rushers as possible. Why would you trade Highsmith? Highsmith is eventually going to be what TJ Watt is today. He's going to be the old statesman. You would want to keep him and Herbig together and Jack Sawyer. You trade one guy, now you're looking for another pass rusher. The idea is to have that 3-man to 4-man rotation. Now, if you want to trade, TJ Watt, I ain't too mad at that, to be honest. Again, if we're trying to rebuild, as much as I love TJ Watt, I mean, again, if the new coach comes in there and they want to change some stuff up, y'all ever thought about this? Are the Steelers going to remain a 4-3 team? A 3-4 team. We flirted with a little bit of 4-3 this season. It's so many different things that we don't have the answer to. Okay, somebody says trade Fryer move. Okay. Also, Will Howard had an advantage to sit behind Rodgers. Perhaps Steelers' new head coach will be someone who's not on the radar. Very much that could possibly happen. It says, Sim, appreciate the stream. When will you be back on? This has become my favorite Steelers stream. Thanks for always making us feel welcome. Oh, man, Deshane, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll be back Tuesday. It's just yesterday, guys, in case y'all want to know why it's Terrible Towel Tuesday on Wednesday. My nephew had a game, so I went and watched him play, and, it just got too late. It just got too late. And it's not often I'm able to catch a Tuesday game. So I had put on X for any of you guys that ever want to know. That's where I'm always letting people know if I'm late or whatever, or if the show is not going to happen, that I would do it today. But next Tuesday, and speaking of that, Kenyon gave me a great idea. He said, hey, man, how about we wait to do our still table discussion until after we have a new head coach? Makes sense. It makes sense because then we'll cover a lot in that call. So whenever we hire a head coach, the following Tuesday, we will do a still table. Or depending on how crazy the news is, maybe we'll have to do an impromptu show. But look forward for the still table to happen upon the Steelers hiring a new head coach. And that's when we'll do that. Some of you are talking Marcus Freeman. Okay. Yeah, Kenyon is probably right about that. I don't think he's thinking about leaving Notre Dame. What else y'all got? I'll take a few more. My guy Real Fact says, personally wanted Marcus Freeman. If I were Steelers, I would offer him an empty check. Okay. What else y'all got? TJ Watt would have to be a trade to contender mid-season before the trade deadline. Yeah, probably so. Need to solidify the O-line no matter who it is. 73 needs to earn his name back. Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need a left guard. I can live with everybody else, man. I can live with everybody else's bumps and bruises. I love Zach Frazier. I love what the effort that McCormick is showing. I love what Troy Fautanu did in his good moments. He had some rookie moments as well. You know, as far as he's not a legit rookie, but this was his rookie playing season, if you will. Got beat a couple times. They all do. But he also played great in spots. So I like what that right side of the line is becoming and growing together. We definitely need get some youth on that left side because, you know, Siamalu, it's not quite what he was. And you know, that's respectable. He's older now. Oh, and he's a free agent. Yeah, so we definitely have to look for a left guard, somebody that can come in and start. And again, I can't wait to see how the new head coach handles free agency. This is going to be very interesting, folks. Very interesting. Very interesting. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here, man. I appreciate everybody who came through. Again, next time we're back on, unless it's a still table, next time I'm back on, I'll have the Discord back open to get you guys in, and it should be happening on Tuesday. But, you know, follow me on X for right now, because who knows how long I stay there. You know, if there's another site that people frequent, then maybe we'll move over there. But right now, same name, SimFBallCritic. If you want to know what's happening on the show, if you ever see that I'm not on, I always try to say 8 o'clock, but sometimes I start around 8:05 or whatever. Check my status on there. Usually I will let you know if the show is going to be extremely late or if I'm having it the next day or if there's not going to be a show. But otherwise, you can pretty much expect me on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, we'll get it in. And thank you, Base Sherpa. Appreciate that. He says, he or she says, thanks for the stream. Thank you for watching. But all right, guys, we got a lot to talk about. Hey, watch some football, man. It was some good games over the weekend. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the national championship as well. I don't know who gets it done. I would like to see. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough road for the Broncos. It really is. I think Seattle might have what it takes. Seattle might have what it takes, man. You know, a lot of defense still remaining. Listen, the Patriots looking solid, and I know some people absolutely don't want the Patriots to win because you don't want those guys to take the lead with championships, but it is what it is, guys. I do not see Denver being able to beat the Patriots without Bo Nix. That's a serious blow. And I think Seattle can take care of the Rams, man. So we might be looking at a Seahawk-Patriot Super Bowl. We'll see. But if somehow Denver ekes it out, that should be interesting as well. Now, outside of that, man, y'all stay warm. It's about to be extremely cold where I am in Pennsylvania, man. Let me just give y'all that update. Today, the low was 9 degrees. Tomorrow is better. The low is 26, high 43. Friday, the low is going to be 6, 36 high, but then it gets cold. Saturday, the low is 2 degrees. A high of 14, and I think they said at one point it's going to feel like between -9 and -14. And even worse, we have a huge storm coming this way on the East Coast where we could get up to 2 feet of snow. Whew. Crazy. So you guys stay warm out there, man. And outside of that, if you haven't already, if y'all like what y'all saw here tonight, 2 things you can do to show your love. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, subscribe to the channel. But outside of that, my PSA each and every week. Hey, y'all stay safe out there. Hey, stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Don't go yet, because I'm going to say one last thing. Hold on. I was just telling Kenyon and Tony this. If you guys are Game of Thrones fans like we are, I just watched that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Just watched it about 2 hours ago. That's all I'm gonna say. And Kenyon had to reel me back in. Yeah, Kev, I ain't too far from you. You know, I'm up in PA. I'm in York. I ain't too far from you. And yeah, I know, because I work in DC on Tuesdays. I was just there yesterday. But yeah, guys, that I just didn't like the first episode. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna say I didn't like it. It's just slow. It's just slow. And Kenyon had to say, yeah, Sim, but you know, it ain't House of Dragon. It ain't Game of Thrones. It's the side story. I get it, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody that's gonna watch it. I'll just say it's slow. The first episode is slow. Chopped and screwed. So I hope it picks up soon. All right, here we go, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. And I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.